Welcome to Jazz Lockdown, the quiz that with your donations contributes to Macmillan Cancer Support. Our regular contestants are Pete Long, Alan Barnes, Alex Garnett, and your chairman as ever is Alyn Shipton. Please like, share and subscribe and follow the donations link below. This week's special guest is James Pearson.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Jazz Lockdown, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have James Pearson. Hello, James.
Hello. Hurrah!
Hello, James.
Hello.
And we also have, in alphabetical order, our regular panelists. We have Alan Barnes.
Hello, folks.
We have Alex Garnett.
Hello again.
And we have Pete Long.
Greetings from Croydon.
Right, well, Pete, we're going to start with you.
Hi,
and
Benny
now,
Carter.
this is the introductory round, sort of some simple warm-up questions. So, Ellingtonian trumpeter Alonzo Anderson was nicknamed Cat. Which other world-famous instrumentalist was known as the Cat?
Jimmy Smith.
Yep, well done. Alex, Ben Webster was known as the Brute, but what other nickname was he known by?
Oh. Is he the Brute, was he? Oh, didn't know that.
The Brute?
No, don't know.
Anybody else got an amphibious answer?
Well,
was
Alan got it.
Oh, it was the frog,
Frog.
yeah, it was the eyes.
The Frog?
Yeah, I'll give it to you retrospectively, Alex, with a little bit of prompting from the readers.
A bit of help there.
He'd be called
now,
the
bonus
thyroid
point
now, wouldn't he, in these enlightened times?
Frog.
Be called the thyroid now, wouldn't he? Along with hypoglycemic Gillespie and all that lot.
Yeah. Well, do you think anybody, bonus point for anyone who can get this, which other musician was known as Frog and had a tune named after him by Paul Barbarin?
Oh, blimey.
Blimey heck.
Has it got anything to do with the Froggy Moore rag?
Sadly, he's a bit later than that.
Right.
No, I'll put you out of your collective misery. It's Frog Joseph. Who had a piece of Slide Frog Slide. But trombone players today, so there we go. James, who were you with on a black box, for all we know?
Jackie Dankworth.
Yeah, well done. And right, this is the we're going to move on from that introductory round. Well, you can explain about Jackie if you like.
No. Sorry.
No. Just that title on the black box label. But Alan, we'll start with you then. So this is the round called Old and New, and it could come from anywhere in jazz.
Did he get a question?
Didn't ask Alan his question from the last round.
He didn't have an introductory question.
He hasn't had his introductory question.
Did I jump right past the Alan Barnes question?
No.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll have to do it now then. So it comes out of the Slide Frog Slide bit. So Paul Barbarin's associated with New Orleans, Alan, writing Bourbon Street Parade. But which Panamanian pianist did he work with for years?
Well,
Panamanian. Well, obviously from Panama. Paul Barbarin. Now, I should get this. I haven't got a clue.
Well, let me give you a clue. He started off with one New Orleans trumpeter and moved to another.
Not Earl Hines. He's not.
No. He started off in King Oliver's band.
Oh, right.
And this Panamanian pianist joined them and then continued to run the band for another New Orleans trumpeter that Paul played drums for right through the 30s.
I've no idea. Sorry.
Anybody else know? Pete was
No.
looking kind of as if he might.
No. It's when he said he. I thought it might have been Lillian Armstrong, but it isn't.
Well, it was Louis Armstrong who led the band, and the pianist was Louis Russell,
Oh,
Russell.
Ooh.
who was Panamanian.
never knew.
Well.
Well, Alan, we'll see if you can handle these rather obscure historical questions coming up now. So, on Coleman Hawkins' 12-inch 78 version of "The Man I Love," that very famous thing on the which came out in about 1948 or 9. Do you know, for half a point each, why it turned out to be a 12-inch 78, who produced it, and what the producer was doing in the studio while it was being recorded?
The first part of the question is that Coleman Hawkins just went on and on and on.
Absolutely right. Half a point.
And and at the end of it, Coleman Hawkins says nobody plays better on chords than I do. And I think he says John, doesn't he? So is it John somebody?
No, I think that was John in the band, but no, the producer. Anybody else know the producer of that session?
George Avakian?
No.
John Hammond?
No. Went on to be one of the co-founders of Impulse.
What, Ertegun?
No, that was Atlantic. No, it was Bob Thiel.
Oh, Bob Thiel, yeah, that's right.
And anybody know what Bob had to do during the session?
Leave himself.
Calm everybody else down. I don't know.
He had to calm somebody down. It was 2:00 in the morning, and the cleaning lady came in with her mop and bucket. He had to hold the bucket still to stop it rattling during the session.
Can I have a point for her name?
Go on, Mrs. Mott.
Hilda.
Almost certainly was. I'll give you a point for Hilda.
Myrtle.
Right.
Myrtle.
So, Alan, why was Miles Davis's walk-in from 1954 13 minutes long?
Why was it 13 minutes long?
Well, why wasn't it 7 minutes long, as it was planned to be?
I don't know. I know the record.
It's a very similar answer to the previous one.
Is it 2 takes spliced together?
No.
Did they just
Anybody else know?
rambling on and on and on and
I
on?
did a really long solo.
Yeah, it's Lucky Thompson's really long solo, and Bob Weinstock from Prestige was jumping up and down waving his stopwatch, but obviously Lucky couldn't see it because he was playing with his eyes shut. So,
That's
there
like
we go.
when McCoy Tyner went on Jules Holland, wasn't it? Because Gary Bartz was supposed to stop the solo, but he got so into it he forgot, and then Jules had to go, McCoy Tyner, etc., and they couldn't start him up. Yeah.
Right, Alex, your turn. Jazz at Massey Hall. Who was the only player to get paid from the Quintet of the Year at Massey Hall?
Oh, that's interesting. Was it Dizzy Gillespie?
No. Anybody else?
Mingus.
No, it was Charlie Parker, who cashed his cheque at the box office and everybody else's cheque bounced.
Right.
Well.
Oh,
He needed instant cash, don't know why. So he cashed his cheque.
he cashed it at the Silver. It was the Silver. No, he actually cashed it at a DJ's place, didn't he? Went to a radio DJ's place. Somebody was a fan.
Immediately afterwards, so he got cash.
Oh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
who was Charlie Parker, Alex? Who was Charlie Parker watching on television when he suffered his fatal heart attack at Nika de Koningswater's flat?
Oh my God. It wasn't the Marx Brothers, was it? No, somebody was.
But it wasn't the Marx Brothers.
It was somebody doing a famous trick with
Was it Phil Silvers?
3 bricks. Was it Sid Caesar? Was it?
It was more like an alto saxophone player's trick.
Oh, I don't know. I should know. I don't know.
It was the Dorsey Brothers. Yeah.
It was the Dorsey Brothers TV show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brothers.
It was a juggler though, wasn't it? He was watching.
I think he was watching a guy doing trick with 3 bricks or something like that.
I thought it was the Smothers Brothers he was watching, but maybe not. The Smothers Brothers.
I think we found that was John Lennon and Harry Nilsson, but we won't go there.
Oh my God.
Right, James, your question's now. So who was the vibes player in the original George Shearing quintet?
Red Norvo?
No.
Oh, Toots. Oh, no, it wasn't Toots, was it?
Vibes player.
He played the drums as well later on. No, it's gone. Well, I don't think it was ever there. Say again?
Anybody else know?
Marjorie Hyam.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the few female vibes players around.
Wow.
And James, whose quintet did George work with in London, who was the subject of a show you did with Lizzie Ball?
Stefan Grappelli.
Yep. And a bonus question, what did that band, Stefan's wartime quintet, have to do with the Goon Show?
Were they the backing band on the first? You know, they had that band that was a bit later on, Max Geldray. Was it the equivalent of that?
Not quite, but you're on the right track. Anybody know?
And did they do the theme tune or something for the opening?
No, the drummer was Ray Ellington.
Of course.
Ray Ellington's quartet was on the Goon Show every week, opposite Max Goldray as the other music.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Pete,
Yes, sir.
which trumpeter fiddled about with Earl Hines and Horace Henderson in the late 1930s?
It's probably Ray Nance, isn't it?
It was Ray Nance. And talking of Ray Nance, whom did Territory band leader Snookum Russell bill as the world's greatest bass player?
Oh, I don't know. Milt Hinton? I don't know.
Anybody else know?
Wellman Broad.
No. It was Ray Brown. And he was so embarrassed that he didn't tell anybody about it when he came to New York to join Dizzy. But then people found in some of the black newspapers, it said, Snookum Russell's band featuring the world's greatest bass player. Dizzy told him, yeah, but you play all the wrong chords.
Well, what wasn't he called Slam Blanton at that stage?
I think he did adopt some other names, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Slam Blanton for a bit. So,
Anyway, he reverted to being Ray Brown once the heat had died down of being the world's greatest bass player.
well, yeah.
Right. Now, James, this is your moment of glory. So in this part of the show, you get a solo round. You're not competing with the other three guys here. You're competing with the previous guests on this series of the show. So this kind of jumps around, a bit about you, a bit about piano, just see how it goes. So let's start with this one. Which New York stride pianist appeared in London in 1923?
Flat Swallow.
No.
Can I have another go? James P. Johnson.
James P. Johnson. He was here with Florence Mills in 1923. Which American stride pianist appeared in London in 1938?
Flat Swallow.
Yep. And which other American stride pianist appeared in London in 1938?
Probably Jelly Roll Morton. But yeah, New York. Earl Hines?
No.
Go on then.
Art Tatum.
Of course. Did he? I never knew that.
Yeah, he did a UK tour and nobody knew who he was, and he went home and everybody forgot about him. Right. Try this one.
Jazz. The miracle of jazz.
So, James, try this one. Which blind British pianist opened at the Hickory House in New York in 1962?
Blind British.
Yeah.
The guy that played at the house pianist at Ronnie Scott's. Not George Shearing, the other. He had a dog. Lucky Thompson.
Yeah, Eddie Thompson.
No, I mean.
Yeah, he had a dog and he was called Thompson. That's good enough for me.
Unlucky. So.
Apart from not very good eyes, what did Eddie have educationally in common with George Shearing?
They both play. Did they both play? Oh no, did they both go to the same Linden School for Blind People?
They did. And they had
Linden
the same music teacher, Mr. Newell.
Right.
Amazing. Who said to George, apparently, don't worry learning the classics. I think you're going to make your money from jazz. And when George came back and gave him a recording of one of the Mozart piano concertos, Newell said, yeah, but I bet you make more money out of playing jazz. And George said, yes. He said, so I was right then.
Fantastic.
Right. Which festive drag act appeared at the Whitehall?
The Whitehall?
Yep. Festive.
Father Christmas. I don't know.
Johnny Christmas.
Oh, Johnny Christmas. I should have. Oh, I see the Whitehall Theatre.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Johnny Christmas from the Slow Drag. Yes.
I'm going to give you half a point for the Christmas because it could have been another festive occasion.
I mean, that's a bit of reason.
With which pianist did you share a new piano for Oscar?
Dave Newton.
Yep. And which blowing instrument from China has had to be abandoned this year due to COVID-19?
The kazoo.
Strange that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which theatre on the Thames witnessed a Rhapsody in Blue with the BBC?
Well, Queen Elizabeth Hall, we did that, I think.
Theatre
Maybe.
on the Thames.
Oh, theatre on the Thames.
It's a few miles away.
Oh. Down in Hayes, was it?
No, it's a Bernard Miles reference.
Oh, yes, of course, where the BBC Concert Orchestra did it. The Mermaid Theatre.
Yeah. And finally,
Of course.
which radio station had Igor and Ragtime on the same bill?
Radio 3. And Classic FM as well, both of them.
Well, it was Classic FM I was going for. I can't keep pushing Radio 3.
No.
So there we go. You've got a very creditable 8.5 out of that round. Out of
Jolly good.
Yeah.
Jolly
Excellent.
good.
Thank you for researchful questions.
Right, now we've got a really, I've got a piece of technical operation because obviously I'm not quite where I thought I was going to be at this point. So this is Spot the Intro. So everybody gets to hear a few bars of the intro of something. If you can give me artist, tune, well, points are going. We'll just see how we work out. So Alan, we'll start with you and we'll see how you get on with the first 10 seconds of this one in a minute.
I don't know. Let me have a think. Is it a British band?
Nope.
Okay.
It's a group of New York session players.
Okay. It sounds like the intro to a game show to me. Session players.
You have played this very arrangement many times.
But Clayton then.
Yeah, and who's the vocalist?
Who's the vocalist? Right.
Half a point for Buck, anyway.
Is it male or female, the vocalist?
It's male and 5-ish by 5-ish.
Oh, Jimmy Rushing.
Yeah, and this is the next bit then.
Rosalie, my darling.
That's a set of pipes, isn't it?
I don't know why I love him, but he always cheers me up.
Yeah. So yeah, James Rushing that was. So well done. Now, Alex, this is a toughie, but we'll see how you do. I've just got to move on track, and here we go. So you're going to get about 15 seconds of this.
Wow.
There was one of those kind of syllabic clues in the phrasing there.
I have no idea at all. I'm cold on that.
Anybody, any ideas about the piece?
Never Let Me Go.
Let me go.
Yeah.
Let me go,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think you were first there, weren't you, James?
Well, I said it, but I think we all said it.
Yeah, you get that. So this is the piece then. Any guesses as to the tenor soloist?
Thought it was an alto.
I thought it was an
Alto to me.
No, it's
Dang
The
one of
latest is
those,
taking it up a fifth.
it's one of those tenorists with one of those top ranges that just seems to be continuous. No, it was J.R. Montrose.
Oh,
Oh.
not
Right.
Jack Montrose, of course.
Well, we get into the Montroses now.
Oh, yeah.
Right. James, see how you do with the first 12 seconds of this one. How are you doing with that one?
I can tell you the key. It's in D minor and it's modal. It could be Bill Evans, but that's.
It's McCoy, actually.
It's McCoy, yeah. And it's modal and D minor, but I can't tell you. So is it the introduction to that on the John Cole? It's actually, I think I might know it. Oh no, I've forgotten the name of the piece, but yeah. It's John Cole.
English folk songs.
Greensleeves.
Greensleeves. Well done.
Yeah, well, you gave me the clue. It's the only one I know.
Well, let's see how Pete does. See if this is the only one Pete knows. Here we go. 16 seconds of this coming up, Pete.
to hear what the instruments were. The sound was really. Was it a rhythm section?
It was a rhythm section.
Okay. That's...
Cymbalon and castanets, Pete.
But it sounded like a cymbalon and castanets. That was the problem. And then like a vole in a flywheel. That's kind of what was coming down the line to me. I haven't got a clue.
Play the next bit.
Oh,
I said the sound's really bad. Is it? It's not Duke Ellington, is it? Is it?
It is Duke Ellington.
Oh, okay.
It's off Money Jungle, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
Let's have another listen to some of it. See if we might get better sound.
Okay, here you go.
Oh yeah. Is it something from the Far East Suite? No.
It certainly sounded that way, didn't it?
Yeah.
Let me give you the next bit and see if anybody can get it from that.
I've just got a jumble of sound.
It's from the New Orleans Suite.
It is, Alan. Well done. Yeah. It's thanks for the beautiful Land on the Delta.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have got that, but.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that the change of venue at this remote end necessitated worse sound than it would otherwise have been. So let's move on to Just a Lockdown, where you all get to go to talk for a minute without deviation, hesitation, or repetition. And I thought, Pete, we might start with you. I'll just get my famous stopwatch working here.
Okay.
Do you think you could talk about the worst practical joke on a gig for 1 minute, starting now?
The worst practical joke on a gig I have ever been privy to was one I committed myself to a fellow clarinetist by the name of Sarah Clark, who lives now in Norwich. It was during the run of Oliver in the London Palladium, and the pit hygiene hadn't been too good, and the orchestra area was full of ullage up to about waist height as we were sat in the space, and a whoopee cushion sort of had appeared on a pile of ullage, making its way to. I know. Do you want the rest of the story? It's good.
Yeah, go on. Go on, tell me.
Sarah, there's a big bit of dialogue in that show before Consider Yourself, and she'd gone off. It was Saturday night. We'd all been in the pub. She'd gone off to powder her nose, and she had about a good 10 minutes to do it. And I found the whoopee cushion. I thought, oh, this will be funny, because she had a bad back. She had to sit on loads of cushions. And so I blew it up just a little bit, just a little tiny bit, not knowing that is actually the most efficient way of operating a whoopee cushion. They're at their zenith with just a little bit of air in. And I put it under the cushions, and she was obviously taking her time, and she came running back in just before, and it was perfect, because she reduced the orchestra to rubble, because it went, Consider Yourself, right? La da da da, la da da da, la da 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 da.
I know people that don't need the cushion for that.
I know, but it's just beautiful.
Splendid, Pete. Now, I think I'm right in identifying the Garnett jingle as being the first interruption there.
That's correct, yeah.
So,
Alice, if you'd like a word I didn't know about called it was ullage, was it?
Yeah, it was ullage, yeah.
It was repeated a couple of times. No, yes, and
it took me a while to get to know what he.
When I had my holiday job in the wine trade, that was what you called the bottles that got thrown away at the back of the store, because either they had off wine in them or they were empty. Oh. That was ullage.
Ullage. That's what they give the band at Ronnie's.
Yes.
Oh, some more ullage, please. Right. So, Alex, if you'd like to carry on, you've got 26 seconds starting now.
Considering practical jokes, one of the funniest I ever witnessed was when I was hired to play as a saxophonist with a band called Rocket 88. The other fellows in the lineup were the amazing Don Weller and, of course, the incredible Hextall Smith himself on tenor saxophone, who took at least 40 minutes to set up, applying all night.
Oh no, it was saxophonist and saxophone. Sorry, was it two saxophonists or was it?
There was a saxophone and a saxophonist. I think it was all right.
Okay.
However, I would have said possibly that hesitation, given how long it took to set up, but that's another story.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to give you the full 40-minute setup.
Repetition of the number
So-
8 in the band's
so-
name.
Yeah, I thought that, but you can't, can you?
You can't, can you?
It only
So,
works on paper, Pete.
Alex, you keep the subject for 3 seconds, starting now.
After having applied
Yeah,
a whole
absolutely.
number of...
Hesitation. So, Alan, you get the point. Would you like to talk for 2 seconds, starting now, please?
Hesitation.
No, unfortunately, it just got to.
Oh, the latency is shocking.
Did I just win that?
Of
Yeah.
course you did, Alan. It's the
Oh.
natural way.
You didn't have to do anything, and you won.
I wasn't even sure I was involved, but that's nice.
That's
Well, it's
Oh,
your subject now. So,
a bit like being on the periphery of an orgy.
well, maybe that is useful for the next topic, because I'd like Alan to talk for a minute on the subject of alternate fingering. So, Alan, would you like to talk about alternate fingering starting now?
Well, of course, alternate fingering is part of the battery of effects that we inflict upon audiences as saxophonists. A good one is to finger a A in the left hand whilst wiggling your fingers on the D.
Can we get a repetition of A?
Well, I thought one was lowercase and one was capital, but you're probably in that splitting hairs really. So I think you're okay there. Yes, Pete, good challenge. Off you go. Alternate fingering starting now.
My first acquaintance with the fabulous world of saxophonic alternate fingering was reading a critique of the technique of the wonderful Lester Young, who uses this rhythmic device of playing the same pitch with 2 different timbres to great effect in many of his solos and for wonderful... Yeah, I know. Dropped it.
Alex, what would that be?
Hesitation.
Yeah. Right, Alex, expert on alternate fingering that you are, would you like to pitch in starting now?
One of the masters of alternative fingerings is a saxophone player by the name of Joe Henderson, who I witnessed playing at Ronnie Scott's. Incredibly, sometimes watching his fingers, I was unable to ascertain on what part of the saxophone he was actually playing, and thus producing notes that I had never heard before. Incredible that he was able to play entire solos by using multiphonics.
Yeah, Pete, I heard
Yeah, a couple of Incredibles.
there were a couple of Incredibles. They'd make a good Disney film. But Pete, would you like to just carry on starting now?
Lester Young's use of...
There you go.
I'm not quite sure. There's a little cavalcade. I've repeated Lester Young, didn't I?
You did repeat Lester Young, yeah.
Fortunately, the dingle went before the end of the thing, so you got away with that one.
I got it. So Steve McQueen made it over the barbed wire in the end.
Well done.
James, I wonder if you'd like to have a crack at talking about out-of-tune pianos. So if you'd like to give us your thoughts on out-of-tune pianos without hesitation, deviation, repetition, starting now.
Nearly every classic jazz recording has, as a pianist, been played on an out-of-tune piano. And I think it's the bane of the life of jazz pianists, even though I said it.
Alex, what would that be?
Repetition, jazz pianists.
It's like the
Yeah.
bring out your dead bell.
Right.
It's like to
Alex,
bring
if-
out your dead face as well.
Anyway, well done, James. We might come back to you if you can interrupt again. But Alex, if you'd like to pick up, please, with out-of-tune pianos, starting now.
I think that out-of-tune pianos really lend themselves to the idiom of jazz music. After all, it is not really considered to be classical music. Jazz is something...
Oh, James got
Repetition of music.
Right. So, right. Was that James or Pete?
James got it just before I did.
Okay. Right, James. Carry on then. Out-of-tune pianos, starting again now.
The worst time for me when I played on an out-of-tune piano was when I was trying to do a George Shearin tribute, and the piano was tuned to A340 or whatever it was, or A430, and the vibes were tuned to 4 whatever. It was horrible.
Alex, you challenge.
Repetitive tuned.
Yep. Right. So That's the problem with tuning things. You get a lot of repetition. So, Alex, if you'd like to carry on again, you have 19 seconds, starting now.
As my learned friend said, the tuning of a piano can be attributed to the country of its destination. Let's say, for example, if you are performing in Italy.
Alan?
It's not the country of its destination, it's the country of its origin.
Oh yeah.
I think that counts as deviation then. So off we go. If you'd like to.
No, hang on. Steward's objection. I knew somebody who actually went round the Yamaha factory and they season them according to the country of their destination. So a piano bound for Asia will be seasoned very differently in a huge humidified aircraft hangar than one going to North America, for example.
That's right.
You don't know this, but that's cost you 3 gigs.
That's all right.
I want to know what seasoning they
Gigs,
put on.
Smigs, I don't know. I don't do them anymore.
Seasoning,
They bore me terribly.
Put on it, Pete.
seasoning the case is different from the international tuning standards. So I think we will carry on with this. Alan, if you'd like to carry on, please, starting now.
Well, out-of-tune pianos, of course, don't just bother pianists. They bother the people. Bother.
Pete.
A repetition of bother. Too much bother in Alan's life.
No, it's
Yeah, too much bother. On you go. You've got a little while left. So, Pete, if you'd like to talk again about out-of-tune piano, starting now.
My favourite jazz pianist currently is the great...
Hey, are you done?
Oh, I did.
But I thought it said favourite previously.
Yeah, but you didn't pick it up.
All right.
Right. Okay. It's time for the last of these, which is going to be Alex's round. And Alex, this would be something which I'm sure you're an expert in. It's what not to eat before a gig. So if you'd like to talk about what not to eat before a gig, starting now, please.
Depending on your levels of professionalism, there are certain food types that you must not eat before a gig, so as not to upset your fellow band members and, of course, the all-important punters. I know certain musicians that will purposefully put something down their neck that will cause such flatulence that the band will be feeling sick mid-performance, and they take great delight in expediting this kind of torture upon their band members.
Two bands.
Yeah,
Two
two
bands.
lots of members and bands. So yes, Pete, carry on, please. Starting now.
What I eat before a gig can be influenced by the kind of gig it is I need to do. I've repeated gig, and someone else can take it.
Alan, you seem to have noticed that gig was repeated. Would you like to carry on, please? What not to eat before a gig, starting now.
My personal memory of what not to eat before a gig involves Mr. Long here. He took me to a restaurant in Soho called Mr. Kong's.
Oh,
It's a spread we had. Crab.
There you are. You've talked right through the crab, and you have completed across the minute. So well done.
So
And
sad.
at the moment, we're in
Fair,
that
isn't it?
interesting position where Pete and Alan are sharing first place.
Oh,
Alex is third place, and James is just 1 point behind, but only one, and that could be made up on the next round in fourth place. So we will have the final quickfire round in which anything might happen. So anybody can just don't do noises with things, just jump in and answer, and we'll hope that I'm quick enough to spot which one of you it is. So starting, Toshiko Akiyoshi was first noticed in Tokyo by which American pianist who in turn introduced her to Oscar Peterson?
Duke Ellington.
No.
Hampton Hawes.
Yes, well done. In 1958, he appeared on whose, Hampton Hawes that is, on whose Contemporary Leaders album?
Max,
Sonny, was that you, Alex, again?
Max Roach.
No, it was Sonny Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. Rollins is one of two surviving members of the Arcane Great Day in Harlem photograph. Who's the other one?
Benny Golson.
Alan, you got it right, and Benny Golson it is. Who co-led a band with Golson called the Jazz Tet?
Art
Farmer.
Farmer.
I think that was pretty much a tie between Alan and Alex. Anybody else get in there I didn't hear?
I got in. My
I
latency.
heard you, Pete.
My latency. Dear.
Trouble with the farmers again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the name of the special hybrid instrument that Art Farmer played?
A
Flugelette.
flumpet.
I heard it from Alex, I think, first.
Flugelette.
No,
It's a
No.
flumpet.
the flumpet, Pete. Right,
Correct. I couldn't remember which end of it was started first.
The flumpet was designed by David Monette. Whose mouthpiece did Monette specially design?
Winter Marsalis.
Alice.
Marcellus, correct. Alex, you got in there first.
And Guy
In
Barker.
whose? The other person, actually that Monette designed a mouthpiece for before Winton was somebody called Maynard Ferguson. And in whose band did Maynard record The Hot Canary?
Kenton.
Pete got there first, I think, Kenton. Kenton recorded The Peanut Vendor in 1947 with which percussionist band leader?
Peter Puente.
Machito.
Yeah.
Which of you, sorry, was that
Alan.
Pete again?
It's
It was
me.
Alan, right? Well done. Machito suffered a stroke in 1984, waiting to go on stage at which British jazz club?
Ronnie
Ronnie
Scott.
Scott.
Ronnie Scott.
I think everybody got a point on that one. It was Ronnie Scott's indeed. Before opening his own club, Scott was co-founder of which famous other London venue?
Club 11.
Alex just got that one, Club 11. Two bassists were also founders of Club 11, Lenny Bush and who else?
Joe Madell.
Riddell.
Yeah, dead heat between Alan and Alex there. Joe's wife continues to run the pub gig Joe started in Bexley. What's the name of the venue?
King's Head.
That's correct.
Pete just got in there first with that one. Latency notwithstanding. Where did Peter King meet and sit in with Bud Powell and Ray Charles?
Paris.
Yep.
Amazing.
The owner of the Sunset Club, Jean-Marie Balzano, married which American vocalist in 1989?
Dee Dee no.
Yeah, you're right, Dee Dee Bridgewater. Dee Dee had a turbulent relationship prior to that marriage with which trumpeter?
Cecil Bridgewater.
Yeah, or Cecil, as I think he preferred to be
Oh.
called.
Sorry, Cecil.
Bridgewater played in which drummer's band for many years from the 1970s?
Mel Lewis.
No,
Oh, Tony Williams.
no,
Louis Belson.
no.
Is it a big band or a hot combo?
A small group, a hot combo.
I don't know then.
Roy Haynes.
Close, but not.
Max Roach.
Max Roach, well done. Well guessed, Pete.
We get there in the end.
In
Around-
1960, Roach and Mingus organised an alternative and less mainstream festival in opposition to which other festival?
Newport.
Or G.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much a dead heat from, I got Alan and Alex both saying that. Right, final question. In 1969, the Newport Jazz Festival began, including soul, blues, funk, rock, and experimental music. It began experimenting with those things. Which band did George Wein threaten to cancel in order to disperse the 50,000 plus audience?
Miles Davis.
No. Don't forget.
Duke Ellington.
No, he'd extended it to include soul, blues, funk, rock, and experimental music.
Ah.
Was it Hendrix?
No.
San Francisco.
Cannibal Adderley's quintet.
No. It was Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
Oh.
And I just love the idea of George Wein cancelling Led Zeppelin. That's just a great idea. We have reached the end of this contest, and I have to say it's exceedingly close. James, I'm really sorry. You did come in fourth position, but only by 1 point behind Alex.
Cool.
Oh,
Alex is in third place. Pete is in second place with 15 points. And Alan is in first place with 16 points. So, well done, everybody.
Isn't it?
And And thanks to everybody who watches this and who contributes. We were able to donate £1,000 to Macmillan Cancer Support out of the proceeds of this show. And it's down to all of you who watch and support the show. So thanks very much for that. Continue to do so. We've got more coming up. But now I'd like to thank especially our guest. Thank you very much, James, for joining us today. James Pearson.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That was enjoyable.
I'd like to thank, in order of vanquishing the others. So, Alex, thank you very much for being with us today. Pete, thank you for joining us from Croydon.
Happy humidity.
And finally, Alan, well done on winning this time, and look forward to seeing everybody in the next edition. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Jazz Lockdown, a quiz devised by Clark Tracy and presented by Alyn Shipton. The contestants were Pete Long, Alan Barnes and Alex Garnett, and this week's special guest, James Pearson. To donate to Macmillan Cancer Support, please follow the link below. Please like, subscribe and share, and we'll see you the next time round.